Hello everybody, welcome to Juan Sullivan's Chili Gardens Tip of the Week. Today we're going to talk about tomato blight prevention and maintenance. We've now done 4 Juan's Tips of the Week, and when I get messages back from people, and I really appreciate those messages, there's been one overwhelming question, and that is, Sean, what do I do about tomato blight? Tomatoes and peppers are very vulnerable to viruses and diseases, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We're here right in front of a great variety of chili that we grow called the Goliath tomato, and the first thing I'm going to recommend to everybody is what kind of tomatoes should we grow? I use some varieties from Totally Tomatoes, and of course it's hard to see this magazine on this little video, but get the Totally Tomatoes catalog. There's several great companies out there that offer great information. One of the things that I will tell you though is when you're searching for what tomatoes to grow, if you're growing tomatoes from seed, when you're looking through the catalog, look at the acronyms for the disease prevention that this tomato variety that you want to offer has. For instance, here is the original Goliath tomato, and it tells me that it's VFFNTAST. And when I go back to the disease prevention guide, it gives me a listing of all of the resistances that the tomato variety has. So that's number one that you want to do. You want to make sure that you're growing tomatoes that have disease resistance. And that's probably the most important thing that you can do. And again, Totally Tomatoes is a great opportunity area for that. The next thing that we want to do when we're trying to prevent disease prevention in tomatoes is you want to make sure that you've got ground cover. You'll notice down here we've got a layer of newspaper and straw over our irrigation, and if you'll notice, the tomatoes look very clean. And what happens when we don't do that is the rain splashes mud where the disease is, and it splashes on the bottom of the leaves. So we want to make sure we've got ground cover. If you didn't do that this year, get it down now, and next year make sure that you put newspaper and straw. The next thing that we do is we want to make sure that we have our tomatoes caged properly to keep the leaves up off the ground. And that allows for airflow. Airflow is what's going to help you prevent any type of tomato blight or disease. Another thing that's very, very important is once you have an infected plant, and if you'll notice here, none of our tomatoes are in really too bad a shape, but tomatoes are very vulnerable. You'll notice some yellowing of the leaves on maybe a couple plants here. The thing that you want to do, make sure you use some gloves. Tomatoes, of course, are notorious for hard to deal with on a daily maintenance basis, but grab those yellow leaves, pick them off, and you don't want to just throw them off to the side. You want to take them, you want to bundle them up in a can or a sack or in your hand, and take them and put them in the garbage and make sure that they are out of your garden. So again, how do we prevent and maintain for prevention and maintenance of tomato blight and other diseases? We pick the right variety. We keep the plant up off the ground with the proper support. And we also want to make sure that once a plant's infected, that we pick the diseased leaves off the bottom of the plant. Keep the airflow going through your garden, and you'll be in good shape. Thanks for listening to Juan's Tip of the Week, and we'll see you next week. Bye now.